In approximately 1969, which set up the program as it exists now, it set up the ability to have all the agencies in the state of Maryland, all of whom might have been doing a little bit of this or that, centralized under the Maryland State Police. And the idea of the law at that time was to consolidate everything in one place, have uniformity, have the state police support the program, have all the agencies come in and get trained here.
When they passed that law in '69, they made the Maryland State Police would be responsible for statewide training, and the toxicologist at the Office of Medical Examiner would certify programs and operations. We had to develop that training program and bring people in from the other departments and say, okay, here's the training program that you'll follow. But we did the training.
I remember a DUI arrest was something that almost never got made. And I started to see a trend in fatal crashes that I had to investigate, almost always an impaired driver. I thought, this is interesting. Well, about that same time, there was a national effort that got started to do something about drunk driving. Nationwide, President Reagan forms the Presidential Commission on Drunk Driving. And their goal was to determine, would legislation help the states do a better job? Training police officers, would that help? And obviously I wanted to set up something in Maryland.
The toxicologist was going to provide oversight and provide scientific basis for the things that were going to go on later in the program. I was fortunate enough at that time to have a good enough staff, and I spent about a third of my time with coming out here to Pikesville and working with various people, David Yohman and others, and began to review what was going on, to certify the breathalyzer 900, 900A. We tested every instrument. There was approximately up to 100 about instruments, and they were all tested, and I tested them all at the end. I certified each one myself, and then put a sticker on it, because the law required that it be approved for use by the toxicologist, and they had to have documentation of that proof. So every instrument has, and still does, I think, had a sticker on it.
That sticker there was the certification the medical examiner would put on the instrument. This is the Model 900, and this is the Model 900A. Good. When we started the test, of course, the first thing we're going to do is put down the test record of the defendant. And what I would take out is 2 of these ampules. So I would take it out, and that little curvature, call that a meniscus. So I break this end off of the ampule. I put that ampule in here, and then when the defendant comes up, I would observe this person for at least 15 minutes and then attach this mouthpiece and have this person blow into this tube through this mouthpiece, and this green light would come on. So once he did that, we would turn this to analyze, okay? And it takes 90 seconds from when that goes through there for this chemical reaction to take place. This and the checklist would be taken to court as this evidence.
The instrumentation was always a 900 to 900A, but there were challenges to it, and the challenges were to the general acceptability of the results. It was a difficult time because we were worried mostly about it being accepted and not being kicked out of a court proceeding, and we were successful in that, I think, over the years.
We needed to have the legal authority for a police officer to request a blood test for drugs in addition to a breath or blood for alcohol. We convinced the legislature after a lot of testimony to put a bill together, and it was enacted in 1990. And it did more than just create a blood test that we could request. It actually specified DRE by name as the officers who could request it. With the help of NHTSA and the State Highway Safety Office, we got grant funds to do a statewide public information campaign. We developed the Sobriety Checkpoint campaign. We did posters that I recognize right behind me, and we got things going. And we started doing checkpoints around the state. And you talk about interest. It was such a divisive topic. I mean, of course, law enforcement and many citizens were for it because we would go out and we would literally stop every single vehicle on a roadway and check every single driver to see if they were under the influence or intoxicated. Well, certain members of the public didn't think so much of that. In fact, there was actually a group that got together called Drunks Against Roadblocks, or DARB, and they came down and picketed our checkpoint. And it became fairly well known that we were not only doing checkpoints, but we were now looking for drug-impaired drivers.
The rules and oversight criteria have been well followed. They are the same, and the staff here now was as good as it was then. And it ran well, but it ran well, I think, because of the nature of the people and their heritage. I mean, they had the heritage of the original program.